Blackout. Little blue bolt on a split wire. Shock in the dark. My corrupter of clocks. You quiver once, then kindle flames that lick the bark off evergreens. One's broken bough unbound you from your artery, so blow the grid and burn the tree, till block by block the dark will dawn along these gravel roads, and cars crawl home on the harness of their high beams. Let the tiki torches dot the lawns. Let screen doors swing with laughter and lukewarm beer. Next door, my neighbors cuss the curfew cop. Someone shoots Roman candles off their roof and cheers. I'm home, upstairs, stripped to nothing but my underwear and running in the dark. My lips part. I plunge into the emptiness where a bed should be, its mattress the net beneath an acrobat, blindfolded, free. My fall is like the time it takes a match to strike and singe the sheets. I am a comet streak or spark. I will end incomplete. Thank you so much for that introduction, okay? I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me out. So I think this poem was partially inspired by Dan Brown's novel, Da Vinci Code, which brought us the image that is the central focus of this poem. The poem's called Vitruvian Man, and that's that guy in the circle and square doing the jumping jacks. So for a good long time, you couldn't go to a bookstore without seeing that. So I'm trying to capitalize on that popularity. Vitruvian Man. Dear symmetric bloke, Mr. Hub and Spoke, what is desire but a lack between physiques, as in yours, classic specimen of men, and mine, just a body? Must extremities measure regular as pillars, fit in patterns? Or can we consider my scars, my stutter sexy? I am a creature of incompletion, made asymmetric, broke. My limbs speak of what desire they haven't tasted. My flesh wallows, yours knows flavors. Do you think Leonardo drew you as an emblem? The one man whose body proves in extremis that man's the measure of all things? Or should we conclude that all things, whether man, muscle width, or lust, can be measured? Did he hear reason, that symmetric bloke, Mr. Humble Croak? This is desire. Quote, no man's torsos, i.e. 6 palms, will exceed his shoulders. Are you a harpsichord, a star, or the most rhetorical of questions? No man's mind, eyes, or body's extremities will measure up to your standards. Like most people, I will hover between plague and pollination, thus tumbling from, unstrung, your dear geometric block, Mr. Hub and Spoke. My desires, mended, mindful. I will sing of bodies, extremities, and measures. There are 2 recurring themes in the, I think, about 4 poems I'll read tonight. They are your narrator appearing inexplicably naked before you and falling. Both of those actually coming together at the same time. I guess I have some weird hang-up with falling naked, I guess. Anyway, it shows up in this poem too. To assemble this poem properly, begin from above. The first line wrote itself in eraser. Your entrance refills with its cloud. Can you feel now a dull tug on your pant leg? You have shadows within shadows. The poem strips them off like spare parachutes. Watch their dark mouths briefly glisten like guardrail reflectors. Leave silence between them like warm loaves of bread. Whatever small truth the poem hurtles toward is already in your pockets. Release it here and stop breathing. Watch it rain down like disco ball light. If a story comes in, cold from the margins, you alone can warm its feet. To do so, you must hold it beneath the voice that trails you. You offer the one it becomes on the ground. The seamless transfer of two people humming is one scenario in which the poem successfully ends. In another, the couplets empty, and you are a diver climbing their cool tubes back up to the start. From there, you see the finale clearly, but do nothing to alter its course. You'll soon crash through a 10th story window. Do not worry, the poem's safe. See its 1,000 shards glint at your feet. I'll close with this last poem. It's called Flying is Everything I Imagine Now and More. It's kind of a post-September 11th poem. I found myself on airplanes quite a bit, flying to go visit my wife who had a teaching job in Ohio while I was in Wisconsin. And your imagination gets the best of you pretty quickly when you're on a plane just looking out the window. Flying is everything I imagine now and more. No shudder, no plunge. No cabin strafed by sun, as when the earth constricts these wingtips and pulls us like a bowstring below the cloud line. No intercom or ice storm. No seatbelt signs lit like a thought achieved in chorus. No red eyes trembling like crosshairs on the horizon. No threat, no glance met, as has been endemic these last 10 years, by a fear that does nothing but unite us. No flying really scares me now, save this scenario I've loved too long and replayed at those altitudes where clouds still canopy imagination. It begins with the cabin pressure bled all over states already red, till each passenger hovers, tethered to their seat buckles or pursuing chewing gum, their hands parting the breathing cups like seaweed. But stop. See my problem? I want so badly to recast in-flight disaster as gorgeous. That whoosh of air narrowing where an exit clasp detached, and heaven gasps me back into the ether. Even rolls my limbs in its mouth a spell before the earth draws back on the distance I tried to put between us. There's reason here, and a few good intentions lost as this fall blurs into the afterlife it's hurtling after. There's my plane sailing on. There's its jet stream of color-coded worry trailing the tail fin. I watch my clothes gently lift away till I'm pale as a lightning bolt, and the shoots of rain I punch through nimbus clouds chase me toward the cause of all this desperate imagination. It's these lit streets and crowds, looming larger now and wholly literal about all that they're afraid of. I once hoped to ease the sky within our reach, imagine our brief victimhood as so much fuel burned up in transit. But what can lyric say to fear hijacking countries? Only this, the lowest point I can imagine. I'm falling, arms out through smog, the dust splitting up till I'm costumed in the exhaust of my neighbors. I see cities aglow like circuit boards and cars lighting paths from one target to another. A noise lifts skyward like 1,000 screens. And I whisper into that music, America, I am so harmless now, spilling down perpetually toward you. Draw your sunroofs back and call me home. Let your grass blades raise their heads to meet me.